Welcome to the Pretty Powerful Podcast, where powerful women are interviewed every week to share real inspiring stories and incredible insight to help women or anyone break the barriers, be a part of innovation, shatter the glass ceiling, and dominate to the top of their sport, industry, or life's mission. Join us as we celebrate exceptional women and step into our power. And now, here's your host, Angela Gennari.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Pretty Powerful Podcast. My name is Angela Gennari, and today I'm here with Carol Kabaale. Hi, Carol.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here, Angela. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. So, Cara Kabaale is a Meta-certified ads strategist who helps online business coaches grow their impact through purpose-driven Facebook ad campaigns. Very cool. So, first of all, where are you? Because your accent is just stunning.
Oh, I love it. So I'm actually based in South Africa, but originally my family's from Cuba. So a long way to go, but like nice little mix.
I love it. Very cool. I have been to Cuba, but I have not been to South Africa.
Oh, well, now you have to come because now you have a friend here.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I've been dying to go, actually. It's one of the places that just looks unbelievably stunning. So
Well,
very cool.
honestly, I really do mean it. If you want to come, we could go to safari anytime. I'm a sucker for a safari. So whenever you want to
do not tempt me.
We'll go safari together.
I love that. So tell me, what made you want to get into the digital marketing space?
So I was a very traditional person, right? Because I'm a child of immigrants, I was basically living my life like ticking boxes, go to university, get good grades, get a job. So I did all the right things.
Right.
And when I got into my corporate job, I found that I loved the people. Shout out to everybody at my corporate job, but I hated my job.
Oh,
So that sort of happened. And in that, I was engaged at the time. Well, not engaged. I was in a relationship at the time for 9 years. The joke that we often make is he was waiting for my blood type. So ladies, if you're waiting 9 years, the key is give him your blood type and he will propose.
Okay, all right.
Once I got that, my now husband proposed, and I just sort of thought, I don't want to do this for like the rest of my life, I just felt like really, I'm going to have to wait till like I'm 40 or 50 or 60 to have real freedom and real choice. Right. And I was like, no, something's got to give, especially because I felt that in the industry I was in, I worked in hospitality. I was living past everyone. When everybody was on vacation, I was at work. When everybody was at birthdays and living and Christmases, I was at work. And I hated that. So I got into the digital space, very long story short, by identifying what I loved in my current business development role. And what I loved was serving people. I loved working with data, and I loved being creative. And that led me to first social media marketing. And then it led me to a more data-driven piece of marketing, which is ads. And that's what I do now. That was 8 years ago. So yeah.
Very cool. So you've had your business for 8 years. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I always say it and it like feels weird. It's like a pinch me moment. Like, really? Wow. We've been at this a while.
Well, good for you. 8 years. I mean, we're about to celebrate 10 years in this business when I started this 10 years ago. And it's such an accomplishment for an entrepreneur to reach these milestone moments. The first milestone is 1 year because a large percentage of businesses fail, right? Like right off the bat. As soon as they get into it, they're like, oh, wow, this is really hard. And they bail out. And then the 3-year mark is when I think it's like 80% of businesses fail in the first 3 years. And so like once you hit 3 years, you're like, check that box. I did it. I had that staying power. And then 5 years is usually a big deal. But yeah, so to hit 8, good for you. That is amazing. Good for you.
Thank you.
That's a real that is a real my company is a real thing. So
well, it always pinched me moments, I think. Like, I always think like, do I really have a company?
Right.
I don't know about you, but sometimes you get these like little comments in your circles of friends. How's your little business doing? And I'm like, you've been at this for 8 years.
I know. Well, or else,
Good for
Yeah,
you.
so when we first started our business, so I had my first business with my ex-husband, and
Mm.
his parents would always say, so I was looking at other jobs and I just thought maybe it's time for a real job. And I'm like, this is a real job. Like I work so hard. It's like,
Yeah.
but yeah, when
Yeah.
they stop saying that you need to find a real job, that's a good thing. Yeah, then your
Yeah.
business is serious. That's
Oh,
good.
I love it. Okay. Well, I think I've got 2 more years to figure that out.
You'll be great. You are definitely on the long-term track. So good for you.
I-
So 8 years of doing this, and tell me how your
Mhm.
business has evolved in that time.
I would say my business has evolved in 3 ways. So I
Okay.
always think this is version 3 of my agency. So when
Hmm.
I first started, I would say the first 3 years, I actually did it alone by myself. It was the first time I was like very much a solopreneur. I had like maybe one team member, one support person, like a VA, and I sometimes got something from a graphic designer, but it was very much me. I was doing everything, and it
Yeah.
showed
Mm.
because I went from like trading a 9 to 5 to literally working 24 hours. And I was like,
Right.
what am I doing?
Right.
Like, this is a
Exactly.
joke. This is
Uh-huh.
terrible. So, in light of that, I actually went into partnership with someone. And that was really nice because she had her own agency and I had my own agency, and we kind of just combined our agencies together. So, that was version 2. It came with a lot of challenges and things I had to learn. Like, for example, I took on the role of very much like operations manager, and like I did all the back end kind of work, fulfillment of what we had to do. And she
Okay.
took the role of more like sales and selling. And, each of us played to our strengths, and that was great. And that's really when we grew a team and we had to create SOPs and we had to like now it was a real thing. Like now it's like
Right.
really getting serious. So that
Uh-huh.
was great. And I did that for like about, let's see, so that was 3. So then I'd say another 3 years or 3 or 4 years I did that. And then in the last, no, I'd say like 3 years, not 4 years, like 3 years I did that, another 3 years. And we parted ways because we both had different goals. So
Okay.
ultimately, my goal in life was never to have a 7-figure business, an 8-figure business. Like I'm not here for the revenue. Look, I like nice things. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
I
right.
love nice. I
Right.
mean, who doesn't? But my thing was always having choice, always having time freedom. I aspire to have like days where I don't want to work today and I want to spend time with my future tiny humans. I want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really want to like, I don't know, grow a team and have a building. It was never my thing, but it was very much her thing. So because our ultimate, like, if you call it exit strategy was really never in alignment, that partnership had to dissolve. And in it, I actually thought, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I've spent 6 years of my life and I'm back at zero. That's really how it felt in the moment.
Wow.
Because when we split, she kept everything. And
Mm.
I just was like, I'm not going to fight for anything. I just want to be amicable. If you want it, you take it. I don't really care. And that was it. And to me, that was actually such a great choice that I made because it allowed me to pick up the best parts of what I had learned. So I
Right.
now call this the third iteration of my business. And it's truly the best one. It's the
Yeah.
best one. I can't lie. It's the best. Okay. It
Uh-huh.
has everything that I've learned from the past two. It has all my values, it has dream clients, and I am so thankful for every single version that brought me to this moment because in the moment I couldn't see it. I was just like, oh my gosh, there goes 6 years of my life. I'm basically starting from zero. But I forgot all the lessons and everything I learned. So when I started from zero, I wasn't truly starting from zero. It was like, let's go, implement, implement, implement. And yeah, this version is honestly, like I could say, my best version yet.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is so brilliant because you were able to see things that so many entrepreneurs miss. So not only did you see, okay, I'm going to grow my business by getting a partner. And I think that that's a really, really smart way to grow a business because as you know, in your first 3 years, and I did this exact thing, when you
Yeah.
are every part of the business, you have no ability to take any time off. You have no flexibility. Like all the reasons they say, entrepreneurs will stop working 40 hours so that they can go work 80 hours for themselves. And this is so true. Like, and then we have a hard time releasing things, right? So we feel like we have to hold on to every aspect of our business, from accounting to marketing to sales, and we
Yes.
become the business. And so it was very great, or it was just so smart that you said, you know what, I'm going to bring on a partner and share in the responsibilities. And then you guys did that. You really went into your space and you thrived in doing what you do best. And I think that that was a really brilliant approach. Now, the other part of that is you have to partner with the right person, right? Like you have to make sure
Correct.
your goals are in alignment, and that can be a big challenge. Like for me, with my former partner, I was similar in that I wanted to grow and expand and do things and make it a big company. And he was
Yeah.
more interested in like, I just want life balance. Like I just want, to
Mm.
be able to do what I do for
Yeah.
myself and not have anyone else tell me what to do every day. But I was in growth mindset and he was in like, no, we're perfectly good where we're at. And so
Yeah.
that was a big, awakening for me as well, is my
Yeah.
partner and I didn't see eye to eye on where we wanted the business to go. And so like you, I walked away from all of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you're right. The things that you learn in that time period, because the first major thing that you learned is that you can become more efficient and more effective with your time by having a partner who can complement your strengths and weaknesses, right? So that is a huge, huge learning experience. And then you learn, I need the right partner who has the same end game in mind and wants the same thing out of the business, because we all define success differently, right? So some of us might define success as, am I happy when I wake up in the morning? If I'm happy when I wake up in the morning, that is success to me, no matter what the bank account shows. And some people say, I just want enough so that I can feel comfortable in my life. But I don't want to, I want to be able to have hobbies and pursue other interests outside of work. And so some people define success strictly based on what's in their bank account. So,
Mm-hmm.
having that same value system is really, really critical. But good for
Yeah.
you for realizing it. And then also for realizing, like, hey, I'm going to take all the best parts of what I learned and I'm going to start out in the very best way possible, because you do learn so much from these things. And there is no such thing as failure. As long as you've learned from it and you've said, you know what, I see what I did wrong. I see
Mm-hmm.
how I can make that change, and I'm just going to do better.
I
And
love
that's it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Maya
100% agree.
Angelou is one of the smartest people I've ever known. And, I always say her quote, we do the best we can with what we know. When we know better, we do better.
That's the one. When you know better, you do better. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So as long as we're learning, we're growing. And,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that at all. So good for you. What an amazing journey.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think I needed that today. So thank you.
You're welcome. So you went into a very specific niche industry. So you went into Facebook ads. So what exactly about Meta attracted you? And then what is it that you do that helps people to understand how to be effective with their ads?
So, in very layman's term, what I do is I help people amplify their messaging
Okay.
or amplify what they have. I don't want people to think, I always think like people think about like ads and SEO and all these things and coding as
Yeah.
like some mythical, magical thing. It's not
Hmm.
that difficult, guys. I mean, it's a little difficult, but it's not that difficult. Once you understand it, it's like, oh, that's what they're doing. That makes sense. So,
Mm.
in essence, all I do is I take what you have and I put it in front of the right people. I make sure that your people, they find you. So you're not depending on what I like to call the algorithm gods. You're not praying. You're not
Yeah.
like creating content and creating and hoping and wishing and I don't know, giving offerings to go
Yes.
viral.
Yes.
What I'm doing is I'm trying to say to that algorithm, hey, I understand that this platform has become a pay to play platform. So,
Hmm.
with that being said, I'm going to give you money, and in exchange, you will show my content to the right people. So that's kind of what I do
Hmm.
in a nutshell. But where it becomes special and what I think really makes me different from other ads people is that we don't just focus on the ads. The ads are great, but the ads are like just the thing that brings the eyeballs. What you
Mm.
really want to have is an ecosystem in place. You want to have touch points after the ad. Like what happens afterwards, right? So you grab an email, now what? So they listen to your podcast, now what? So they've booked the call, now what? So
Mm.
what my team and I really focus on is creating these ecosystems outside of social. So the reason I focus so much on outside of social is because like 4 years ago, I was hacked and I literally lost everything. I lost my personal Facebook and it was gone. And I mean, like, you're like, oh, Carol, it's just a Facebook account. Well, it's the Facebook account where I met my husband. It had all my cringy teenage photos. It had a lot of me, okay? It had a lot of
Right.
personality. There were a lot of peace signs, okay? A lot of millennial moments gone now.
Uh,
That being said, also a huge part of my business was built off that account. I made a lot of connections. I made a lot of like friendships. I had a group with way over 5,000 members in it, all gone in a day,
oh, wow.
right? But it's okay because I had an email list. So
Okay.
instead of
Yeah.
like being in the corner and crying for too long, I'm not gonna lie, I did cry. You have to feel your feelings sometimes. I did cry a little. But after that initial shock wore off, I was like, okay, let's get on with it. And I
Mm.
just sent out an email and I said, hey guys, this happened. Let's move on. Here's where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. And I didn't want that to ever happen to me or any of my clients again. So that's why I advocate so much on building on your own sandbox. Don't depend on Mr. Zuckerberg's sandbox. Like, he's great. Thank you for allowing us to play there, but I'm gonna move people away from them.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like we're going to the second location and it's not going to be scary. Nothing bad is going to happen. In fact,
Right.
that's actually
Right.
where the fun things happen at the second location. Come see.
Mhm. I love it. That's very cool. So, so when you are trying to design an ad or you're trying to kind of create that viral ability, I'm just going to make up this word, viral ability. What do you say? What are the components of getting a really good ad together?
I would say it's the right offer to the
Uh-huh.
right person at the right time. That's like
Okay.
basic marketing, but that's
Mhm.
really what it comes down to. Because people will take action when they are ready to buy, right? Not
Mm.
like when we want to sell them.
Yep.
That's why I also feel that one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making when they want to run Facebook ads is they want to drive ads straight to the sale. They want to
Mm.
drive ads straight to buy my course, buy my program, book a call. These are high like intent things,
Yeah.
okay? Let's imagine, Angela, you and me, we're good. We're girls.
Right.
We're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
chilling. We're at a bar together. It's great. We're having a great time. And at this bar, some gentleman comes up to both of us and he's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, you guys are great. Let's do it. Let's chill. By the way, Carol, I'd love to marry you.
Oh
You
gosh.
and me are both gonna look at him like, excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
You
right,
said
right.
what? You
Hmm.
wanna what with me? That's the same feeling that we're putting into people when we're like, buy my stuff. And I'm like, who are you? Why should I buy
Right,
your stuff? Like, go away. Ew. Like,
right,
no.
right.
So instead of doing that, by building other type of ads, so an awareness ads, making sure that the people who already follow you know about you and are getting warmer. By building like lead generation ads, where you again are moving people off social and into your ecosystem, it becomes an easier yes because they know
Huh.
you, because they've had multiple touch points from you. So when you finally say, hey, I'm launching this thing or I have this service, it's like, oh yeah, I should go to Carol. She's that ads person. I have been thinking about that. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go with her.
Interesting. That makes so much sense. Like, intuitively, when you put it in that way, I'm like, yeah, why didn't I think of? Because you're right. I mean, we go straight in. We go right in into their face with the offer of like buy
Yes.
my stuff, right? Whereas we're not
Right.
really taking the time to educate people. We're not really, introducing ourselves properly. So you're absolutely right. And it makes so much sense when you say it. Why is it not clicking for me when I was thinking about it in my own head?
My husband says sometimes you have to hear things from other people. Often he tells me things, and then somebody else will say something. I'm like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what Angela said. And he's like, mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, did she now? Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes I think we just need to hear it from other people. I also think there's so much choice out there today. Like, look, when I don't want to tell people my age because, I use a
Right.
lot of product to hide away all my grays. But back in my day, okay, choice was very limited. Okay, you had things like a phone book, you had things like very limited Google, like your choices were very like limited.
Yeah.
Now, everyone and their cat really can be famous, can sell you things, can do things. So choice is so broad. The main thing that will set you apart from other people is staying top of mind. Because again, people will buy when they find that they need that solution. So by you nurturing and staying top of mind, not depending on the algorithm, you're going to be
Yeah.
the obvious choice when that comes up, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that totally makes sense. So, the one thing about being a small business and trying to advertise on Facebook is it feels like you could just spend thousands of dollars and it could go into a black hole and you're like, what did I spend money on? Like,
Mhm.
so as an entrepreneur, how can we be effective with our money? So what strategies would you give to somebody who says, look, I only have $500 a month or I only have $1,000 a month to spend on Facebook ads? How can I make that go far?
So the first thing I would say, treat it as an investment. We're
Okay.
not gambling, okay? We're not taking money and throwing it into this machine and overnight become billionaires. If
Yes.
someone is promising you that, please run.
Yeah.
Actually, don't walk, run. I want
Run.
you to run, okay? Now, second thing is I want you to adjust your expectations. So
Hmm.
if you have a small budget, if you're only spending like $2 a day, $3 a day, $10 a day, your audience or your screen, I want you to think about it as like a screen, is going to be quite small. It's going to be
Mm.
like the size of a cell phone. Now we all have cell phones. So that means like people will look at their phone, it's just a little screen and there's a lot of distractions. So the likelihood of a conversion is going to be lower. Now, people who have bigger budgets, they're spending like $1,000, $500, I don't know, a lot of money. Their screen is huge.
Yeah.
So, hence, the people who drop off will be less, or maybe it'll be more and they'll get higher conversions. But that's just because their screen is bigger. So, what I want you to do is adjust your expectations. If you
Okay.
only have $2 to spend, understand that for maybe like a week, you'll run your ads and you'll get like a baseline. Let's use baby numbers because it's a little bit late in my time and I don't want like to get confused. So, let's say you're spending $10 a day. And
Okay.
in that, you get like, you're looking for emails, right? And to get one email, it costs you get 10 emails and you spend $10. So you get 10 emails, you spend $10. Each
Hmm.
email costs you $1 to get. That's baby maths.
Right.
Now, if you get only two emails, that costs you $5 per email. You need to sit with yourself, right? And you need to say, is this enough for the top of my funnel? Is this enough new people coming into my world for me to ultimately close them? Now, remember, these people are just at the top. They're just like getting to know you, they're vibing, they're feeling you out. You need to move them down. And we all know that to get someone from thinking to the final sale, people are going to drop off. So if
Uh-huh.
you're only getting like 300 new people and your close rate is only like 1%, that's only three people. Are
Yeah.
you happy with those numbers? Right? If the answer is no, you're going to have to increase your budget or you're going to have to create better ads in terms of like getting a better offer, getting better audiences, creating like better captions or something like that. Those are the only variables you can really change. If you don't move those variables, it means that you're going to have to spend more. It's just
Yeah.
as plain as simple as that. You cannot expect a $2 ad to bring you 500 people. Like
Right.
the math is not mathing.
Right.
I like
Right.
maths, but that's not it.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So as somebody who wants to spend a little bit of money, I hear all kinds of different strategies, like put your
Yeah.
competitors names into the ad or put this or put that. Like, how do I create and what is the difference between keywords and audience? Like how because when I start doing an ad, it says it asks me all about my audience and ask me what the
Mhm.
keywords are and what the S like I don't know SEO. And so how can I create that narrowed down enough audience that I'm going to have an impact, but also because like it will default to this massive audience, and you're like, whoo, that's a lot of people that are going to see this ad. I don't need all those people to see the ad, right? Because if I have all those people, then 90% of them wouldn't buy from me anyway, because it's not my audience. So
Yeah.
how do you start that process of narrowing down?
So in Meta, it's actually quite nice. They have this nice new this thing called advantage audience advantage. So
Okay.
in that, right, it's like their algorithm has already kind of like mapped out who is likely to see it. So if you
Oh,
leave that on, you can give it guardrails, right? To say
okay.
like, hey, I am looking for entrepreneurs, or hey, I'm looking for moms, or hey, I'm looking for people within sorry, the United sorry within the United States. I need them to be female. I need them to drive this car. Another fun way to look at it is don't buckle down. Don't think like you have to niche down. I often find that people want to niche down in ads. Ads is a fun place where you can just test. So
Yeah.
everything is a version, right? So you have version one, we're going to test entrepreneurs. Version two, we're going to test people who follow a certain influencer or industry guru per se, or something like that, or they
Mm,
read certain books, or they shop at certain stores. A good way, and this is what I tell all my clients, a good way to figure out where to start, because you're like, oh, Carol, but I don't know, I want to sell to everyone. No, no, I got you, I got
right.
you. All you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes for me and you're going to pretend that you're looking for this person in a shopping center, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Where are they?
Yeah.
And even before, where are they? What did they drive to get there? Were they
Mm,
driving a Tesla? Were they driving a Mercedes? Did they walk? Did they cycle? How did they get there? Interesting. Okay, now they're there. Are they shopping at Whole Foods? Are they shopping at TJ Maxx? Do we find them at Gucci, at Dior? Are they at Lululemon? Are they at a
uh-huh.
bookstore? If they're at a bookstore, what are they picking up? Are they picking up, some dark romance fantasy? I'm just saying.
Uh-huh.
Or are they watching a self-help book? If so, what kind of titles? All these things make great audiences that you can test. And you can either test a combination of them to create like someone with a personality who has those things, or you can narrow down in one particular field. Now, even though, like you said, the audience will be really big, that's okay because your budget is really small. So you can only show so much of your ad to that 1 million, 2 million, 13 million people at a time. You're not going to go through that audience every day, right? So
Right.
it's fine. Don't forget about that. If your audience gets too small or too specific, that's when you should worry. Because if there's only 1,000 people and you keep showing the same ad to the same 1,000 people, they're going to be like, please stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why? Why can't I get rid of you? And that's
Mm.
actually bad and it hurts your ad because the algorithm sees that as like, no one is clicking on this. This is a bad offer. So your cost per result will rise. It will actually kind of like stop it from showing it to people because it's a bad experience. And Meta wants people to have a good experience with the ads. They want them to be like, oh, yeah, this is cool. I saw it and I clicked on it and I bought. That's the experience they want.
Oh, wow. That's great advice. Really, really good advice. Thank you for that. Yeah, so that's not at all how I've been doing it. So that helps me tremendously
Oh, I'm
because
so
usually
glad.
I'm like, maybe just everybody. Maybe everybody is my audience, and it's not my audience. I can tell you that. So it's really cool. So tell me a little bit more. When you started your business, what obstacles and challenges did you have to overcome?
So I think the biggest one for me is that like no one in my family has ever been in entrepreneurship.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so my parents are actually both doctors,
Okay.
and they really wanted me to have like a very secure kind of job. Like, so when I chose business, they thought I would like just work for this lovely corporation for the rest of my life until I died.
Right.
I remember even telling them like, "Hey, I'm thinking of changing jobs, like companies," and they're like, "Why? Why would you do that? No, 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 just stay there. Like, this is crazy. Stay there until they fire you. Like, don't move." And it was really like a lot when I made this decision because I had no one to really role model and
Uh-huh.
see what this was like. To me, I saw people, I knew what role models were, if that makes sense. Like I knew people like Oprah Winfrey like existed, and I knew like famous people who were role models, but I was like, yeah, that's them. That's not me. Like I didn't
Right.
know anybody in my like vicinity to be like, oh yeah, I know Angela. She's an entrepreneur. No, I didn't have that. So
Yeah.
that scared me the most because you don't know what you don't know. And I also was very much scared of what people were going to think. I had a
Mm.
very cushy corporate job. Because I worked in hospitality, they would often send me on work trips to like Dubai, to go to London, to go to like different places. I was often traveling, and it was like very cool. I was this corporate girly, like in her young 20s, like just doing all this fun stuff. And now I was going to become this business person and I had no idea what that looked like. So that was very scary. I made the choice, I think, for my own benefit. I didn't tell anybody I was really going to do it. I just kept quiet. I didn't even tell my
Wow.
fiance. I don't
Oh,
suggest this,
wow.
by the way. I don't suggest.
Right.
Looking back on it, I would have told my fiance, but for a long time, I just sort of quit one day
Mm.
and I came home and I started to put into action what I thought I wanted, which was a business of some kind.
Wow.
And that was really hard because I had a lot of guilt and I had a lot of debts in the beginning because I was paying for all of this in like with my savings and my credit cards. And, it was a lot. It was very stressful.
Mm.
Um, but I think that when I finally opened up to like my husband and told him, hey, this is where I'm at, he was like, whoa, interesting. Um, I was like, he was really smart. He put it together very quickly. He was like, why are you always at home? Like, why don't you ever go to the office? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just working from home. This was pre-COVID. So that was a
Oh,
very bad lie. Like, who is
right.
working from home? Like, that was a
Yeah.
plan. But that's what I said. And eventually he sat me down. He's very analytical and he was like, okay, we've got to give things timelines. How long are you going to try at this? Like, are you going to try at this for a year? Are you going to try at this for 6 months? What are you going to determine as milestones that you're moving in the right direction? And that really helped me to get like super clear on like how I would do this. I didn't have the tiny steps, but I had the big mountains, the big anchors. And I was like, if I
Yeah.
can just make it there, I'm going to be fine. Like, I don't know how, but if I can just make it to that spot, I'll be okay. And that's sort of how I did like the first like 2 years, where I was just sort of like, if I can just make it to having 3 clients, I'll be fine. If I can make it to
Mm.
4 clients, if I can make it to this amount of revenue, I'll be okay. Yeah, but it was scary because I really felt like I had no one and I wanted to learn everything. So I also downloaded and took every course, every masterclass, and it was never enough. I just felt like the more I learned, the more I didn't know. Have you ever felt that way? Like
Oh,
you just feel like,
absolutely.
right? And I was
Absolutely.
like, oh no, like now I don't know what a landing page is. Oh no, now I don't know what an email sequence. Oh no. I was like, oh girl, what am
Or
I
you
doing?
you know just enough to get yourself into a conversation, then somebody asks you a question, you're like, oh, I didn't look
Mm,
at that. It's like,
yeah, yeah. You're like,
yeah.
yeah, I know that. And you're like busy Googling on the side. Like,
Yeah,
how do I
exactly. Hmm.
Yeah, so that was very interesting and very challenging. But again, I felt like there were so many lessons to learn there. Like, don't give up. I know sounds like
Mm.
such a cliche, but it really was that for me. It was like, you don't have to tell everyone your business. That was another one that I really learned. Because when I started telling people, and by this point, my business was like, okay, it was stable, they still judged it.
Oh
They were
yeah.
still like, oh, this is what you're doing. And I was like, could you imagine when I started if I had that too? If I
Mm.
had that other pressure of like, how could you do this? I'm so thankful I didn't tell people, but I don't
Yeah.
advise it because the guilt is not for the weak.
Well, and it's harder to find your tribe, like when you need that sounding board of people who are also doing something like that, because not having anyone to talk to, you can get in your head so much that it is crushing sometimes, because that inner voice is one where, it might, are you crazy? What are you doing? Why are we doing this? Is this worth it? And all of that goes running in your head over and over and over again. So have you been able to find that tribe of people that you really are like, these are my people, like they get it, they understand why I'm doing this?
Yeah, I really have. And funny enough, I would say like I always thought it would come from my immediate community. I was like,
Oh,
oh, this
really?
person, or oh, this friend, or oh, whatever. And it didn't.
Huh.
Strangers have been the most supportive people, the most kind people. One thing I've said, and I've really learned about this entrepreneurship, is like you will meet someone on the internet and they will be your biggest supporter. They will
Yeah,
like all your photos, they will share your stuff, they will advocate for you in a Facebook group, they will like promote you and be like, Carol's so amazing. And I'm like, this person doesn't know you. But
right.
your own circle, and I mean, I'm not speaking for everyone, but this was my experience. Like, they were like always questioning it. So
Oh,
I'm so thankful to have made like a chosen business family, if you can call it that. Like I have this group of people, like my one friend Anya, like I just love her so much. We literally voice note every day. We send each other videos. We're talking about like books and fairies, and we're also talking about, girl, this is how I'm doing my branding this year. Like,
Yeah.
let's go, what we're
Yeah.
doing. So it's so nice to find your community, but like you said, until you get to that point, it can feel very isolating. And
Mm.
yeah, if you need people, I'm sure Angela can be your girl. I can be your girl. Like, don't be sad by yourself. We got you.
Yeah, it's true. And that's one of the hardest things. Like I'm like you, like I didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs. Like I didn't know people who had businesses. And so I'm out there and I'm like, I hope I'm not screwing this up too badly and like getting myself into big trouble. I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. And then you make the mistake of going to somebody who is a close friend, family member, whatever, and they don't get it. And so all they do is they try to give you advice on what they know, and that can be
Yes.
detrimental also because the best advice is, look, I know who you are and I'm going to speak to your character. But the worst advice is them trying to give you advice on something they don't know anything about. And they're really trying to like steer you and they have good intentions behind it, but it's not
Yes.
what you need to hear. And you got to be really careful about who you listen to in those moments because I've gotten some really bad advice from people who had good intentions but just didn't know. And I just trusted them as an inner circle person instead of
Mm.
really trusting of where that expertise is coming from. Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And I know that feeling. They're so comforting and they're like so
mm,
familiar. So it's like, okay,
yeah.
yes.
Mm,
How could this person want something wrong for me? But like you said, because they don't know what they don't know, it's
yeah.
very difficult to make a
Mm,
good decision.
absolutely. So so what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, gosh, what a wild child that was. We had fun. We had fun. We had fun.
Uh-huh.
I'm so glad I was part of that digital camera generation because it's an
Hmm.
interesting time.
Right.
As my husband and I say, if you remember the year, it was a good time.
That's right.
So I would say to her that, look, life is, I think that 18-year-old Carol was very much a people pleaser. She was a
Uh,
person who needed a lot of validation and she needed to fit in. But what is interesting is that everything that I always wanted to hide about myself, so the fact that I'm very charismatic, the fact that I am like loud and I get along with people, and the fact that I'm bubbly and like I'm just like, yo, let's try this, let's do this, the fact that I can just bring a group of strangers together and we can just do stuff. These were things which were like, why are you always trying to get in everything? Why are you always trying to do this? Like, those were
mm,
qualities that were made to feel like they were negative. Why are you so loud? Why do you always need attention? Looking back on it now, in like my 32 years of life, oh my gosh, I'm so getting so old. I can tell you that those are the things that have made me the best kind of leader or the best kind of like founder in my company, the best kind of friend, and the best kind of wife.
mm,
Because I truly know what I value and I don't like to deviate from it anymore. And I would tell that Carol, hey, you are okay. You are doing okay. You're doing enough. And to be honest, I wouldn't give her much more advice than that because I'm a strong believer that everything that has happened in my life, for the good or bad of it, has led me to this moment. And I am so thankful for the version of Carol that I am right now that honestly, I wouldn't change much.
that's amazing. Yeah, and I agree. It's those crazy experiences that you go through that are character building, Like I think that's why I'm such a big advocate of people not overprotecting their children because when you overprotect your children, you shelter them from those things that are so character building. And yes, it might, as a parent, you want to shield them and protect them from every little thing, but those are character building moments that give you
Yeah.
the resiliency, the strength, there's so much that comes out of that. You want an adult who is capable and competent. And those times that I've messed up when I was 18, 19, 20, like those really bad decisions that I made back then, they help to create a foundation of making good choices later on because
Yeah.
choices become exponentially more expensive the older you get.
Ain't
So
that the truth? Ain't that the truth? I'm
So
like,
much.
girl, if we
Mm,
only knew back then.
I know, I know. But yeah, so
Uh,
I'm a big proponent of failing
yeah.
hard when you're young because you don't want to lose all your money at 60. You know, if you lose all your money
You
at
know what
20,
I
you lose all
mean?
your money at 20. You'll gain it back by the time you're 20 and a half. You know,
You
it's like
probably don't even have that much money to lose. It's
exactly.
okay.
That's what I'm
Let's
saying. You'll have it at
live.
20 and a
Start
half.
again.
You'll gain that $500 that you lost back in no time. But you lose all your
Yeah.
money at 60, you've got a problem. And
Yeah.
so,
That's
yeah, so lessons become more expensive the older you get. So I'm a
Oh,
big
I like that. I think I'm gonna add that to my board. I have this whole
yeah.
board of like sayings. I'm gonna add
Yes.
that one to my board.
Good. So, so as women, we give away our power all the time, you know, in different
Mm,
ways, you know, whether that's giving somebody else credit or not stepping into our power in a moment where we could have, you know, shine
mhm.
or do something like that. So can you tell me about a time that you gave away your power and another time that you stepped into your power?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So I was raised by a very narcissistic mother.
Mm.
I recently learned that word.
Uh-huh.
Coincidentally. To me, she was just mom, but now I can put a title in front of
Yes.
that. I actually thought everybody's parents were like that. I didn't see anything wrong with that. I just thought everybody went through that.
Uh-huh.
For those of you who don't know what a narcissistic person is like, they're just very controlling. Everything is about them. You can never do anything right. They suck the energy out of everything, and they're
Yes.
just the center of the universe. They're just like, hey, it's my way or the highway. Like, and if you know someone like that, girl,
Yeah.
if you can run. But if
Mm-hmm.
they're your family, I get it.
Yeah.
So, that being said, because I was raised by someone like that, I often gave my mom a lot of my power, in the terms of whatever my mom needs. She can phone me right now, and I often would just be like, okay, Angela, I'm so sorry. I gotta go because I gotta pick up this phone call. And I
Yeah.
would put everything else on hold for her, um, and not think about myself. You know that saying, put on your own oxygen mask before assisting others.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Mm.
was assisting others. I was there,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And I had to learn very quickly that that's not a way to live. Only because I just felt like I still love my mom. I respect my mom. I don't like have anything against her. We have a okay relationship. I don't want to say
Okay,
great. We
right.
have an okay relationship. Um, but I needed to understand that, like, you know, me giving all of this and having nothing in return from it is actually very draining in itself. Now, I am not of the belief you have to give to receive. But if you're giving and giving and giving, and someone is just sucking and sucking and sucking, at some point you can't give. There is
Yeah.
nothing more to give. So I had to stop that. And I mean, one of the many instances that I have come out of it, and not only with my mom, she was the biggest one that I identified. Just in life, I had to put up those boundaries. And
Hmm.
I learned that setting boundaries is not really a bad thing. I always thought it was so terrible. Like, oh my gosh, I'm pushing this person away. What will they think? It's actually an act of service. And that's how I like to look at it. Because I am saying to myself, hey, this is what I will stand for and this is what I won't. But I'm also allowing you to understand, hey, this is what I can do for you up to this point. And over and above that, I'm not the person who can help and assist you with that. That also works in business. Sometimes as business people, we like to be like, hey, I can do everything. I can help you with everything. I can do everything. It also takes a certain kind of person to understand, like, hey, I'm actually not the right person for that project. I know someone, or I can try and help you find somebody else, and letting a client go, letting an opportunity go that doesn't serve you. So for me, learning that was really, really powerful. And I think it came from being raised by someone who constantly took from me and never gave back.
I love that so much. And you're exactly right. I mean, setting boundaries is good for you and for the other person because it just
Mm-hmm.
tells people these are my guardrails. And it's okay if you can't be within those guardrails. But by being honest about that, you give that person the opportunity to either stay within those guardrails or go on. And that's okay. It's freeing to say, you know what? We don't see things the same way. And it's a better opportunity for us to just move on. And that's okay, but like to me, that it gives it's grace. It is grace to be able to
Mm-hmm.
offer that to someone and say, I'm going to give you the gift of a boundary because that way you can then choose. And I say the same thing with honesty. When people are not honest with you, then the problem is it robs you of the ability to make a decision based on real information. And, again, you're if somebody is lying to you about something, then it forces you to make a decision on false information, and you cannot make good decisions on bad information. And so by being honest, even if it's not something you want to hear, just like with boundaries, it gives me the opportunity to react and say, does this fit or does this not fit? I need to be able to react based on real information, real boundaries, real guardrails, and then you can make a decision for yourself about what to do next.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't have said it better.
Well, I love that you figured this out and then you stepped into your power by setting those boundaries. I think that's really powerful. Very cool. So one last question, because I really enjoyed talking to you, Carol. You're brilliant, and I just think you just have such an amazing personality, and I can't wait to see what all you do next. So one last question is, what do you wish more people knew?
Oh, okay. Hold on to your hats, because I learned this last year, and it's been my mantra, and it's been like my guiding star. It's actually every year I pick an affirmation or I pick a word and I pick a direction. My last year, funny enough, let me just go sidetrack before I answer your question. The year my business partner and I parted ways, I said, I want completion. I want things to be completed, because in my mind, what I thought I wanted was like, I want like projects to be finished so we can build up and up and up. But what it actually turned out to be like things that no longer served me were completed. They ended, they left my life. So this is very powerful to me. I stand by this, like pick something and like let it guide your year. So this year for me, what I picked was, what you don't change, you choose.
Ooh, yes.
Right? What you don't change, you choose.
Yes.
And that for me falls into so many categories. Like I have always been that girl. I want to be healthier. I want to do things. And because I was so blessed with like a high metabolism, I was never hitting the gym. But you know what? I was choosing that because I was like, oh, my pants are too tight. Well, girl, get on the treadmill, go for a run, eat a salad. Okay. In business, oh, my clients suck. They never pay on time. Well, what are you doing to fix that? Do you have an automated system? Are you sending out invoices at the right time? Are you following up on them? Pay this thing. Hey, I'm going to give you a 10% like fine if you don't pay on time. You're choosing that situation by not changing it. And once you understand that, it becomes so powerful that it's like, I have choice. And that's something I love. I've always wanted to create a business of choice. So what you don't change, you choose. So what are you choosing today?
Oh, that's beautiful. So beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. What a great way to end. So where can people find you?
So I'm sure it'll be up or down or in the show notes, but you will have all my details all over the internet. My name is just Carol Kabaale. And if you want to have some fun, if you were like, oh, Carol seems like a cool ads person, I want to connect with her. Before you jump in, I do have this really cool quiz. It's about 2 minutes long. And after you take it, it will let you know if you're ready to run Facebook ads. It's really fun. So take the quiz, find out if you're ready to run Facebook ads. And yeah, that's what I could say. Probably going to be in the notes.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure that we have all the links for all of your socials and everywhere that they can find you on prettypowerfulpodcast.com. So thank you so much, Carol. This has been such a pleasure.
Thank you. I'm so excited, and I hope I come back because I like this energy.
Yeah, this has been great energy. I appreciate it. Well, and everyone, we will see you next time on the prettypowerfulpodcast.com. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining our guests on the Pretty Powerful Podcast. And we hope you've gained new insight and learned from exceptional women. Remember to subscribe or check out this and all episodes on prettypowerfulpodcast.com. Visit us next time, and until then, step into your own power.